90410.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Indian Tech YouTube channel. So here we are. Let's see, we are on Constitution Avenue. And we should be going to turning right next to the Washington Monument. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but let me adjust you guys so you can have your own view. So today we are taking a different route. So a friend of mine from India, I was talking to him the other day, and he was asking about all those shootings happening in schools and theaters and all that. And he was asking like, why does it happen in the United States and why is it so common? So I'm gonna talk about some of that, and I want to address that issue, and I'm gonna give you my take on it. So I think that's kind of it happens in US, but in terms of crime, it's not that it's a crime, right? It's a crime, but it's not very different than other crimes in other countries, except that this is its own kind of a crime. And also part of the reason is easy access to guns. But that is not the reason alone. Easy access to guns is one, but who has access to it? Most of the people, those who do these shootings, they are on some kind of drugs, or they are already being treated for their mental illness. Or on the top of both of these things, they usually don't own the gun, they steal it from their relative, or they steal it from somewhere. But having a gun is not the reason. In this country, there are millions of people, those who have guns, and all of them have several guns. They don't have one gun. Nobody has one gun here. You won't find anyone who just has one gun. There are people those who have dozens of guns, and there is nothing wrong with it. It's the part of culture. It's their right. It's the right which this country has provided. It's the Second Amendment. So when you look at the number of firearms in this country civilians has, the number of mass shootings, and as much as I'm against those shootings, and as much as I think that these are the worst kind of cowardly crimes committed against helpless children or people, those who have no arms, it's not because of people buying guns in this country. It's because people has guns, and then some of them are those who were mentally ill or are mentally ill, they have access to firearms, or they steal it and then they do something like this. Of course, this will not happen in India because nobody has firearms in India. Very few selected people have firearms. So even if you know someone who is mentally ill, he's not gonna grab a gun, you know. At the most, he will grab a, knife. Then it brings us to another, question of, can having by having a law that prohibits you to own a gun, is that the solution for these mass killings or not, or these kind of crimes? The answer is no. Look at China. Didn't they had like a issue where this guy killed like 21 kids or injured 21 kids and killed several school kids just by a kitchen knife? So there goes your theory, right? If somebody has to do a stupid thing like this of hurting, innocent people, they don't need a gun. They can use anything to hurt them physically. So I think all this gun bashing and all those laws are kind of one-sided theory. I don't see any problems with people having guns. I know people who have guns, and they are some of my best friends, and I have some guns, and there is nothing wrong with it. It's the right of this country that provides you. You can have it. It's a great hobby. You can go for shooting. You go to shooting ranges. You go and you shoot at targets. You go for hunting, and it's a great sport. And just like with anything else, just like that car, in front of me, that car is a weapon, right? So if this guy, whoever is driving, decides, he goes nuts or he goes crazy, he can go and he can kill people crossing the road in front of him. But he's not going to do it because he's a responsible driver, like you and me. So at the end of the day, people's actions are caused by their mental state, and their intention of doing harm. And what medium they use is really not important. How many times you see people, deliberately hit people, and how many times you see people involved in hit and run? Do we sue the car manufacturers? Do we pass a law to ban buying cars? Or do we pass a law that you cannot buy a car anymore and you will only have a two-wheeler car? So why are we limiting the type of weapons, and why are we trying to stop the sales of weapons to law-abiding, responsible, sincere people? I don't understand that. If you have a better argument for this, please, send me your feedback, and I will try to, understand what you are trying to say, and I will try to, come back with my counter argument. But I mean, I can be totally wrong. I mean, this is how I see it, right? I'm not born here. I'm born in India, where we are not allowed to have guns. And I came here, and I embraced anything, that was American, with American culture, because this is my country now, right? So I embraced anything that came with this country, and one of the things that came with it was also the right to bear arms. So our fathers of this nation, when they wrote the law, they gave us enough rights, and every citizen of this country is not they are not shy of using those rights, and we use those rights every day. It's the First Amendment, Fifth Amendment. You go to the Senate hearing, all you see is people, taking Fifth Amendment, right? So why do you bypass Second Amendment? Why don't you use that? Or why are you against Second Amendment? It's very selective of, selective of people to take Fifth Amendment while, you know, going against Second Amendment. And there are studies done by the government itself which has shown that the increase in firearms in areas where the firearm sales are increased, the crimes have dropped. So it's not a figure, it's not a statistics, it's not a study done by me, it's not done by any YouTuber or you or, you know, any Tom, Dick and Harry. It's done by the government itself. Anyway, so that's my take on it. I think what we should do to avoid these kind of situations is responsibility is everything. So you are a responsible person when you handle a gun, if you have a gun, and you take care of it. But the responsibility of owning a gun does not end with you taking care of the gun when you are at the shooting range or when you are at hunting. You are responsible for that gun even when you are not at home. You need to keep it in lock and key. You need to keep it in a gun vault or a safe. So this guy who shot all these kids in Connecticut, he stole a gun from his mother. So in this case, this guy, as you know, sick as this guy was to take action against innocent kids, his dead mom is partly responsible because she didn't secure the gun safe. Or if she did, she kind of, I don't know the details. Did she give the key to him, or did the guy knew, did the kid knew where the key is, or did he knew the combination of the safe? Anyway, being a mother, she knew the kid is sick. She knew that he has issues. The mother always knows. And even then, she didn't take precaution enough or take measures to make sure that this guy can never touch a firearm without her presence or even in her presence. If I have someone like that living in my family who has some mental issues, I will put it behind double lock and key.